Greetings and salutations. This is Jason, and today we're going to cover the basics in Autodesk Maya 2011. Now, this tutorial is aimed toward those who just opened up Maya and want to know what's what. Now, before we get started though, let's create and set our first project. How do we do that? Simple. We go over here to File, go all the way down to Project, and then click on New. The next step is naming our project. We'll go with, let's see here, Maya Basics. Alright. Be sure to add an underline or something between these two words. Maya has a problem with spaces. After this, we set up a path. Click on Browse, select a folder from whatever place you want. We'll go with Desktop and Tutorial, and then click on Open. Now that we got that one settled, let's see what we have over here. Here, we can dictate which folder we want Maya to create for us. We don't actually need all of them, especially with what we're going to do today, so we're just going to go with a few of them. So let's see here. We'll go with Scenes, Images, Source Images, just for the hell of it, Shaders, and Textures. We got that done, so just click on Accept and we're done. Now we can take a look at the user interface. Now the first big thing that pops up is this big open area over here. This is your viewport, your workspace, your playground, whatever you want to call it. This is where all the action happens. Over here to the top, you can find all the tools Maya has to offer. Okay, all the tools regarding, well, let's see, animation, surfaces like polygons, NURBS and subdivision surfaces, dynamics, and texturing and rendering. Alright, a little ways down you can find the shelf. The shelf is split into many other categories, but basically what it does is it adds shortcuts to the tools above, the ones I just told you about, for quick access. You can also create a new customized one if you like. We'll go into that a little later. Okay, since we're here, let's create our first polygon object. Let's go for a cube. How do we do that? Well, we just need to go to the Polygons tab over here, click on Cube, and just drag it all out in the viewport. Alright, this is pretty big. Anyway, doesn't matter. You can also create one by just going to Create, Polygon Primitives, and click on Cube. It basically just does what that one does, right? Alright. Now that this is done, we have to use some of Maya's hotkeys so we can actually see how this object looks. So let's see what we have here. If you want to see the object, we press 5. This turns on the shading in the viewport. If you want to go back to the wireframe, we simply press 4. 6 turns on texturing in the viewport, but since we don't have any textures mapped on our object, it remains pretty much the same. 7 turns on the lighting, but as you can see, it just turned black. Now, why is that? Well, this happened because we don't have any lights in our scene. We shall go into texturing and lighting in another tutorial. Okay, now that we have an object in our scene, let's see what we can actually do with it. Over here to the left, we have 3 selection tools and numerous manipulation tools. Our first one being the selection cursor, which you can also access by pressing Q. With this, you can only select the object, alright, by clicking on it, dragging over it, etc. The next 2 are also selection tools, but one based on a lasso mechanic, alright, and the third one on a brush mechanic. Alright, let's change this back here. Okay, the fourth one is a manipulation tool, this one over here, and to be more precise, it's called the Move or Translate tool. This one helps you move an object on all the 3 axes, X, Y, and Z, just like this, right? The left, the right, etc. Up and down, whatever. You can also be accessed by pressing W. The second is the rotation tool, which helps you rotate your object in whatever fashion you so desire. Alright, like this, like this, like this. Going crazy! Anyway, right? Just undo that. You undo it by pressing Ctrl Z, by the way. The rotation tool can also be accessed by pressing E. The third one is the scale or resize tool. This helps you resize your object. You can either make it tall, alright, like this, or wide, or just make it smaller, like this, or bigger. It can also be accessed by a key, and that one is R. The fourth one is a little more complex. It's basically a combination of all the three main manipulation tools. You can basically use it like this, right? Like up and down, etc. Let's undo that. The next one after it is a soft modification tool. Basically it helps with the more complex shapes, like let's see, I don't know, a head for example, something organic, you know. The one after it can be accessed in certain conditions, this one right here, by pressing T. We'll go into more detail about it on another occasion. It's also a combination of the main three manipulation tools, but at a different level. The last one can be accessed by pressing Y, this one over here. Right now it shows us a cube. So what it actually does is it repeats the last tool used from the shelf up above, right? From up here. Right, since we've finished with our manipulation and selection tools, let's see how you can actually move in your viewport. By pressing Alt and left click, you can move around your object, alright? Either to the left, to the right, up and down, whatever, go crazy, alright? By pressing Alt and the by pressing Alt and left click and the middle click, excuse me, and the middle mouse button, you can pan around your object, alright? Just like this. Using Alt, left click and middle click at the same time, you can actually move your camera closer or farther from your object, alright? By scrolling, you can zoom in or out. Now, what I like to point out is that using Alt, left and middle click is not the same as scrolling, alright? By scrolling, you actually modify the lens of your camera to zoom in. By using the other technique, you actually move the camera closer to your object. There's a difference. Alright, now that we finished with these guys, let's check out what we have further down the road. The first two help us with our viewport. These guys over here. How's that, you're wondering? Well, it's pretty simple. The first one is our perspective view. The second one splits our viewport into 4 panes, 4 views, alright? 3 of them being the direct top, side, and front view, and the 4th being our initial perspective view. This really helps out when creating something a little more complex, especially when you're working with references. You can also choose one of the many presets regarding layouts by accessing panels from whichever window you want, going to layouts, and select one from the list below. My personal favorite when working on a scene and wanting a more broad view of my workspace is 3 panes, split bottom, this one. With my perspective up top, like this, and the side and front views down bottom. We go to panels, orthographic, front, orthographic, and side. But that's up to preference. You can go with whatever layout setup you want. Anyway, before we go further, I want to show you real quick what the hotbox is all about. Personally, I don't use it as much, but it comes in handy to some people, so here we go. You can access it by pressing the space bar and keeping it pressed. Over here at the top, you can find the first 6 tabs which you can call the common tabs, the ones over here. Alright? Beneath them, you'll find the tabs situated at the top of the viewport. These guys with these guys. Alright? At the bottom, you'll find various tools regarding surfaces, animation, rendering, etc. By clicking the center, you can access different views. Perspective view, top view, front view, side view, etc. Right? By clicking the top, you can select different layout presets. Clicking to the left, whoops, hold on a second. Alright. Clicking to the left lets you mask certain surfaces, materials in your viewport. And clicking to the right turns different user interface panels on and off. Like, let's see here, like time slider, we don't want it, alright? Like the command line, and etc. You can turn them back on just by doing this again. Alright? Alright, next we'll take a look at the outliner, which can be accessed by pressing the tab below the 4 panels, this one over here. Over here, you can basically find every little thing you have in your current scene, from surfaces to default or created lights, different cameras, different nodes, doohickeys and doodads. If you can't find something and you have a knack for micromanagement, you should use this panel. Alright, I think this is it for the first part. I'll catch you guys in the second. See ya!